Hey, thanks for joining me on this full body stretching routine. This is a non-yoga, relaxing, calming, hence the beach stretching routine that will help you get a little bit more limber. We're going to focus on stretching just about every muscle that we can within our body without going too extreme. We're going to start off really simple with working basically from our neck all the way down to our toes. The only things you need is going to be a towel, like a hand towel. And if you're on a hard surface, then get yourself a exercise mat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our right hand, swing it behind our back, and we're going to make this over here what's called a chicken wing. We're going to turn our neck to the chicken wing side. We're going to hold each stretch for about 30 seconds. I'll do my best to keep count in my head. And as you do these stretches, just try to stay calm, relax, focus on your breathing, and really push your limits on the stretch. Stretch as far as you can stretch, obviously without hurting yourself. Just hold that for a little bit. I like to move around a lot while I'm stretching, so you'll be seeing that. From here, look down. Keep your head over to that chicken wing side and look down at the ground. This is a bit of a long routine because I try to cover every muscle. And at 30 seconds apiece, look up now toward the ceiling or the sky, wherever you are. At 30 seconds apiece, the time does build up a little bit. If you can see on the back side, I'm just grabbing my wrist, pulling my hand over. Take the other arm, same thing, reach it over, grab that wrist, pull it over and make the chicken wing, and look straight out in front of you and drop your head over to the chicken wing side. Listen to the waves and the breeze. You can pretend you're here on this lovely beach. Look down now. Down at the floor. So as you're looking down, you're also keeping your head over toward the chicken wing side. That's going to help keep the stretch in your neck there. And then look up. This is a really good time to focus on your breath. Take some big, deep breaths. It's not very often in modern culture and modern society that we take very many big breaths. Unless, of course, you're more active. All right, we're going to move on from our neck now to our arms. And the first thing we're going to do with our arms is we're going to reach our right arm way up, high as we can, put it down behind our head. We're going to grab our elbow, and we're pulling our hand down real low like this to our back. And we're going to hold that as a tricep stretch. Other side, same thing. pull that elbow down. You really want to focus on, like I said earlier, pulling and stretching as much as you can withstand. It's okay if you're a little bit uncomfortable. Really reach and push yourself. The goal is to lengthen your stiff, tight muscles. Get them relaxed so that you can move better and eliminate some of the aches and pains. From there, we're going to go back to the right arm. We're going to reach it out across our chest, and we're going to hook our hand underneath our elbow. And I'm using this hand to pull my arm as close to my neck as I can, getting a really good stretch in the back of the shoulder here. Almost there. And switch sides. Each stretch is going to be roughly 30 seconds. It's not going to be exact, but it's as good as it's going to get without me staring at my watch the entire time, as well as trying to keep count while talking. From there, you're going to lace your fingers together behind your back like so, up high, and then you're going to reach down as far as you can, locking out the elbows and really straightening up your chest so that you can get a good stretch across the front of your deltoids, your biceps, and your chest. Just keep reaching as low as you can, tall chest. And we're going to kind of do the same thing, but on the other side. So take your hands so that you can see the tops of them. Cross them over like so. You can lace your fingers again in front of you. And now round your back as much as you can and squeeze your shoulders together as tight as you can, looking down. You're going to feel a big stretch across the upper back. Sometimes I like to bend down a little bit more, really pull my head down and feel the stretch going all the way into the lower back. From there, we're going to go into our forearms. So just grab your fingers, pull them back with your elbow locked as far as you can. Hold them. You're going to notice that some of these stretches are easier than others. Just depends on your circumstances. Switch sides. And just pull the fingers back to the forearm as far as you can, keeping your elbow locked. Now you're going to go the opposite direction. Grab your knuckles, just kind of point your fingers back toward your forearm and pull, again with your elbow locked as far as you can, and hold that. Sometimes when I've done construction work, any of the times that I've done construction work, sometimes I need to use my hand to kind of manipulate a board and put it into place, so I'll hit with the backside of my hand, and that really messes up the wrist, which I learned in hindsight, of course. And so these stretches have helped me just open up my wrists and recover a lot from that, from those movements and that trauma, if you will. This next one has been the best one for that. When you hit with this side, it kind of jams up back here. So I put my thumbs down into my palms and grab them, and then reach my thumbs down with elbows locked toward the ground or the floor. And I just hold that as tight as I can. And you'll definitely start to feel that open up in this region right here. From here, reach your fingers out and your thumb and pull your thumb back toward your forearm right here. Again, just adding as much tension as you can to the point of discomfort. If you're feeling pain, you need to back off a little bit. You don't want to be putting yourself into a painful situation that could actually cause more harm than being helpful. So just go to the level of discomfort. Listen to your body, pay attention to it. Switch sides. Now the last arm stretch that we're going to do before we move on is going to be with the towel. Take the towel, put it behind your back, using one hand at the top, and reach the other hand up to grab the towel closer to that hand. And then you're just going to continue to pull the towel up with this top hand as much as you can. As you're doing this, you're going to notice that one side may be tighter than the other. Generally speaking, it's the right side that's not as mobile and flexible as the left. That's for somebody who's right dominant, like myself. I've seen a lot of improvement, though, in my shoulder mobility after incorporating this movement. It's been very helpful. And again, go right to the point of discomfort before pain. Just pulling up on the towel as much as you can. And you're going to take the towel into the other hand, switch sides, put it back there, and again, grab closely to your other hand and pull. Pull as much as you can. Hold that tight. From there, we're going to move into the rest of our body, from the chest down, I suppose. First thing we're going to do is we're going to reach up as high as we can, your feet about shoulder width apart, your knees locked out. You're going to reach your hip over and your hand straight up as high as you can to the opposite side. And just reach and breathe. Hold that. I like to put this other hand down here on my knee for support. Keep your chest tall. Going to the other side. Reach. Push that hip over. Keep the knees locked. From there, we'll go into a quad stretch. Reach your foot up and grab it. Pull it as close to your butt as you can and keep your chest as tall as you can. You can pick a spot on your wall or your floor to stare at so that you can keep your balance. If you need to, reach out and grab a chair or balance with the wall. Looks like this. Just pulling your foot as close to your butt as you can. I know that some people have knee problems and may not be able to get as much flexion in the knee. It's okay, just do what you can without hurting yourself. Release that slowly. And grab the other one. A few more seconds on this side. Put that down gently. We're going to go into a hamstring stretch. Just lock out your knees, and you can straighten your back if you want to. Stick your butt back a little bit and reach down as far as you can. I like to play around with it. It's okay if you round your back. Not going to cause any major issues. I like to mess around with it. Maybe I'll drop my head down and myself into my knees. Just depends on what I'm feeling for the day. You can touch your palms to the floor with your knees locked. That's awesome. Do that. I'm not quite there yet. This is one of those improvements that I've seen over the time doing this, because I used to just be right up here around my ankles, and that would be very uncomfortable. Roll up out of that slowly. And from there, we'll stretch our groin. Widen your feet out as much as you can tolerate with your knees locked. I like to fold my arms and just bend down slowly, stretching down. Keep those knees locked, feet wide, as much as you can tolerate. Sometimes I'll sway back and forth. You'll feel some extra stretch going down your hamstrings and your calves when you do that. You can rest your head on your arms. Relax. While you're here,
Just slightly come up out of that. I'll turn sideways. Bring your feet together and your hands out in front of you, and drop one heel down to the floor as much as you can. The further you reach yourself out, as long as you're keeping your heel down, the better. And this is going to help with stretching out your calves. In modern society, our calves get really tight from the elevated heels of all of our shoes. Definitely switch to barefoot shoes. Your feet, your knees, and your hips and your back will thank you. Switch sides. Keep the knee locked out with the heel touching the ground. Almost done with this one. From here, reach out your front foot. We're going to go into a lunge and we're going to stretch the psoas hip flexor muscle. So I like to get down into a deep lunge and reach this foot back as far as I can while contracting the glute muscle. You want to keep the glute muscle tight and you want to keep your chest tall. If you've got some knee problems, you can back off of that lunge a little bit and just be somewhere in here. You can even drop down this back knee and lean into that as much as you can. I like to be out here. And if you want to add another level to the stretch, you can reach straight up. You'll see what I mean if you try that. The hip flexors, the psoas, and all these other muscles down here in this hip region get really short and tight from all of the sitting that we do in this modern age. So this is a really great stretch for that very problem. And you'll notice that as you loosen up your psoas, go to the other side, as you loosen up those muscles down there, your hip flexors, a lot of your back pain, if you have back pain, stiff back, whatever, will start to go away. Which is funny because you wouldn't think that that would happen when you're stretching the opposite side of where the pain is, but this is a large contributor to back pain. Just breathe through that. Remember to contract the glute. And then from there, get down into a deep squat. Widen out your knees, and you can put your elbows on your knees and push them out as far as you can. Keep your chest up, your back as straight as you can. Start to open up the hips. Just do what you can. If you can't quite go as low in your squat, maybe you just widen out your feet a little bit more and do some version of a wide squat to start to open up the hips. And just hold this. Breathe through the discomfort. And rock side to side if you want to. From here, we'll just sit down and we'll do what's called a butterfly stretch. So put your feet together and pull them in as close as you can. And you're gonna open up your feet like a book, and you're gonna drive your knees down with your elbows as far as you can. You're gonna feel this in your groin. Lift up your chest, straighten up your back. Hold that, push down, really try to get down there. If you're as flexible as my young children, you'll be able to touch your knees to the ground. I'm not quite there, but I am improving. And you can improve too, you just have to stick with it. Or maybe you're already there as well. From there, just kick one foot out straight in front of you. We're gonna do a little bit more work on the hamstrings. They tend to get pretty tight. Pull this other foot in close and reach as far as you can with your knee locked to your foot. If you're just grabbing your ankle and that's enough for you, that's fine. Don't compare yourself to others. Just do what you can do. Become the best version of you. I used to only be able to reach my ankles, and now I'm way out here. About halfway through, throw up that other hand and reach it toward your foot. You'll feel some stretch on the side through the QL and those different regions. Remember to breathe. And switch sides. Reach this foot out, pull this one in. Check my list, make sure I'm not skipping anything here. And kick up that other hand and reach over. All right. From here, you can just keep that leg out. You're gonna kick up this other one over the top of your knee. You're gonna put your hand back, this other arm with the leg that's out straight that you just stretched. Put your elbow on your knee. Keep your back tall and just twist yourself. This is a pretzel. As much as you can. Your lower back may pop, that's okay, as long as you're not causing yourself any pain. Keep your chest tall and really use this elbow to twist and push as much as you can withstand, and hold that. You'll feel a stretch down the outside of your glute and open up the spine a little bit. Kick this foot out and do the same thing on the other side. So you just reach up that hand, elbow on the knee, this hand back here for support, and twist. Chest tall, remember to breathe. And from here, we'll go into opening up our hips. So we're going to start out with some hip mobility. Sit just like this, and you're going to drop one knee down, raise it up, drop the other knee down, raise it up. And we'll just do this a few times. And this is just going to loosen up the hips before we start to stretch. Stretch them out a little bit. Working on internal rotation here. Your hands can go behind you for support. If you need to lean back a little bit more, that's fine. But again, make sure you're challenging yourself. Oftentimes I see people doing this like this, where they drop down that other knee, like this. And I noticed that you don't get as much internal rotation as if you leave that opposite knee up. So we'll do one more of those on each side. Now this side that we end on, we'll roll all the way into that. And we're gonna get a 90-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here. We're gonna keep our hips in this position. And we're gonna hold our foot, ankle area, whatever, drop down over the top of that knee and hold this stretch. You can put your hand wherever is comfortable for you. Reach your head to your foot. If you want to do that, you'll get a little bit more of a stretch in the hamstring. I like to be right over my knee because I really feel it in the glute. There's a muscle back there called the piriformis muscle, and this is a great way to stretch that out. Okay, raise back up. From here, you're gonna reach up your back foot and grab it and just hold it up. Breathe and relax. Hold it up to where you can. Work on some of that rotation. Try not to pull it in too much like this. You'll lose a lot of that hip rotation. Keep it out at the 90-degree angle. Just a few more seconds on that. Let it drop down. Now turn over this leg and you're going to start to raise up that knee. We're going to do that 10 times on each side. So open that up as wide as you can. My hips are definitely not where I want them to be, but they're certainly better than they used to be. It's 3. Keep this other knee down. 4. Keep your chest tall. 5. Really push as far as you can. 7. 8. 2 more. 9. 10. On that 10th one, just roll into this other side. And you'll be right at the same 90-90 as you were on the other side. And you can go straight into leaning over that knee. Again, stretching out the glute. Go as far as you can tolerate on that. About 10 more seconds on this. And as you come up, raise that back foot, grab a hold of it, and just hold it there. Working on that rotation. Try to use your hand as little as you can and really use the hip muscle to hold that foot up there as high as you can. Let that drop back down, and now open up that knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Much like your shoulders, you may notice that one side is tighter than the other. 10. From there, you can come on up to your knees, and we're going to do a little bit more on the hips, which is a frog stretch. So knees wide as is tolerable, with your feet straight out behind your knee. You don't want to tuck your feet into the middle, in the middle position of your body. You want to keep them out like so. And then from there, hands in front of you, back straight. You're just gonna lean and push yourself back, your butt toward the floor as far as you can. You'll really start to feel this inside of your hips. Remember to keep your feet out. Then sit down as low as you can. We're almost done with the full stretch. We've got 5 more stretches. All right, you can work your way forward, come straight out of that, and we're going to go into stretching our abdomen. Put your hands down under your shoulders, drop your feet down flat onto the ground behind you, and then you're going to raise up your head and your chest as tall as you can. Look up to the sky. And this is really going to stretch your abdomen out. Hold that. Take it easy on your low back. If you have low back pain, then just pay attention. Don't overdo it. Come up out of that to your knees. And then we're going to do something that most of you know, which is called cat-cow. Take care of the spine. But we're not going to do too many of those. We're going to do about 5. So you're going to be on your hands and your knees. And it's just like, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to raise up the middle of your back like a cat. Hands and knees stay on the floor, on the ground. Raise up your belly button toward your spine as much as you can. Just hold for a few seconds. And then drop down with your spine into the shape of a cow. So in this case, you're going to raise the glutes and the head. Arch the thoracic spine. Just a few seconds and then go back into the cat position. Raising up your belly button as much as you can. Really pull. Work on the spine. Just a few seconds. And back into cow. And we'll do each one of those one more time. 3 is enough. You don't want to overdo it. Into the cow position, the cat position. And back into the cow position. And from there, you're going to sit down onto your feet and reach out your hands with your head down. Put your face down toward the ground, toward the floor. And let your shoulders come up over the back of your head as much as possible. And just reach. Hold this for a few more seconds. Now stay in that position and slide your hands over. Still sitting on your feet. Slide over to the right side. As you slide to the right, reach the left hand as far as you can. You'll feel a great stretch down through your lat. Hold that. And slide over to the other side, keeping your butt on your feet. Reaching your hands across to get that stretch through the lats. Just a few more seconds on this. All right, you can come back to the middle, work your way up. And for our last two stretches, we're gonna work on our ankles and our toes a little bit. So turn around so you can see what I'm doing. Just like we were sitting on our feet just now, I'm gonna sit down on my heels with my toes kicking back. And I'm gonna put as much pressure as is tolerable on the tops of my feet. And I'm going to stretch out my ankles. I'll even lean back like this. Get some more stretch into the quads and the hip flexors simultaneously with the ankles. And again, if you're like my kids, you can go all the way down and lay down, which I can't quite get there yet. Mainly focus on the ankles, putting that pressure on them. If you just want to hang out right here, staying on your heels, that's fine. And that's long enough. Lastly, you're going to come up onto your heels, still touching your butt, but you're on your toes. And you're going to rock your knees forward as far as you can. You can use the ground to balance with your hands. I don't know if you can see my toes very well with the sand, but you're just going to come forward onto your toes as much as possible and really stretch out the arch of your foot and your toes. You're just moving your body in ways that it doesn't typically move. Hold that for just a few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is my full body non-yoga stretch routine. If you enjoyed that, like and subscribe. Look for some other tutorials as well as all the other content, which is exclusively based on self-improvement, personal development. Hope to see you guys on the next one so you can come join me on the path to great.